course, choosing one's favourite e-reader is a very serious task. I fully understand that. In fact, I'm not going to enjoy it at all.
After finishing my cocktail, I kicked off proceedings with the new Kindle. It may be available worldwide, but you can still only buy it from Amazon's US website, so expect to pay in dollars and wait a while for delivery.
But when it finally does arrive, you can't help but admire it, with its tasteful, tactile, off-white plastic fascia, smoothly rounded corners, its very nicely finished stainless steel back. It really is an impressively designed bit of kit.
And with 2 gigabytes of internal memory, Amazon claim that you can carry up to 1,500 books around with you.
But here's the clever bit. The Kindle comes with a built-in 3G modem, so you can download e-books on the move. It works in the UK and, amazingly, here.
But annoyingly, these books can only be bought in dollars from Amazon.com. They often cost more than their paperback counterparts and come exclusively in Amazon's proprietary format, preventing you from sharing them.
And despite there being over 300,000 books available, there are quite a few gaps, both in terms of authors and titles. I mean, I normally buy Robert Goddard before I go on holiday. There's hardly anything in here. Gosh, and there's no Ruth Rendell.
Though despite these shortcomings, it is a pleasure to use. The 6-inch e-ink screen is very clear, very well defined, even in this bright, bright sunlight. There's 6 different font sizes to choose from, and, although they're in black and white, the pictures are very clear too. You can also look up the meaning of words, add notes, listen to MP3s, or have your book read to you.
So how Camilla Dribble had repeatedly managed to get that dim-witted question onto Jackson's monitor.
But all too soon, I had to swap my massage for e-reader number 2, Sony's PRS-600. It has just 512 megabytes of built-in memory, but unlike the Kindle, that's expandable thanks to 2 memory card slots.
But that means if you've got the inclination, and indeed the requisite funds, you could store up to 13,000 books on this thing. A small provincial library's worth.
But with no 3G connectivity, you have to get your books before you leave home. It supports the EPUB format sold by most online bookstores, as well as non-copyright material offered by sites like Project Gutenberg. However, you need both Adobe Digital Editions and Sony's ebook software installed to transfer them onto the reader.
Once you've transferred your files and you're free from your computer, you can navigate through your titles on the Sony's 6-inch touch-sensitive screen.
Using your finger or the supplied stylus, you can browse your library, choose one of 5 text sizes, look up word definitions, and write additional notes on your ebook.
You can also swipe the screen to turn the page. But don't get too excited. It's nowhere near as responsive as the touchscreen on an iPhone, although it is the closest you can get to turning a real page at present on an e-reader.
However, the addition of a touchscreen has compromised the most crucial element of the Sony's usability.
Trying to read books on this Sony screen is most unpleasurable. The problem is, it's so reflective. Bright sunlight like this, it ruins the experience.
And even out of the sun, the Sony screen just wasn't clear enough. On to my third and final e-reader, the 5-inch screened Cybook Opus from French manufacturer Booken.
It weighs a mere 150 grams, which is less than half the weight of the other two. But there's no scrimping on memory. There's a gigabyte of internal memory and a micro SD card slot for expansion.
As with the Sony, I downloaded all my books before I left home. I used Adobe Digital Editions to transfer my EPUB downloads onto the Cybook, but copyright-free books can simply be dragged and dropped onto it.
But it's pretty short on features, especially considering the price. There's no built-in dictionary, there's no ability to make notes, and it doesn't have the music player that the other two have.
But for simple book reading, it's really quite satisfying. Fits in your hands nicely, it's easy to navigate, and you have the option to choose one of 12, yes, 12 different font sizes.
And there's an accelerometer which automatically reorientates the screen depending on how you're holding the reader. And thankfully, you can also turn it off because it does get a bit confused when you're reading lying down.
Now for G ratings, and it's just 2 Gs for the Sony. It may have clear menus, but it's tarnished by that reflective and unresponsive touchscreen. The Cybook Opus gets 3 Gs. It's light, easy to use, and supports a wide range of content, but it's just too expensive. And the Kindle also gets 3 Gs. It's undoubtedly the best piece of hardware, and having 3G connectivity is great, but the content is rather restricted. So, before buying, you need to check that what you want to read is actually available.